Smith. You can also find me on Facebook under Divine Generations Life Coaching. And I guess we'll share my website and you can book a Calendly with me. You can get on my calendar. But oh, you said tell them who you are. Who am I? I am mother. I am artist. I am author. I am. I was saying healer, but I want to take that back. I am sage. Okay, I am mystic. But most of all, I'm Halisi, just a woman. Going through life, living, and still learning.
Perfect. So do me a favor. So when it comes to your journey and how you arrived here, dropping these words of wisdom, right? You mentioned currently you're going through cancer. So how did you discover that, and how has life changed for you?
Funny. Okay. Well, my diagnosis is only 6 months old. I found out 3 weeks after my 44th birthday. I went to the ER because I was having a muscle weakness on one side. So I thought I was having a stroke, okay, or symptoms, right? I get to the hospital ER and I find out that I have not just cancer. I have CNS lymphoma, which means there's a tumor in my brain. Okay. I was devastated. Before that happened to me, I was already a coach. I kind of done some parent coaching, moved into transformation coaching for men and women during COVID. And I had did work as a family advocate. So I had all this robust family experience. And then the thing happens to me that I never expected. I, I was a healthy person. I never got sick. I never even had the flu. And here I am with cancer. So that's how I found out. And I thought I better stay relevant, right? Even though I'm going through treatment, this is treatable. This is not something I have to die from. So I said, let me just reach out to some podcasts and try to make myself relevant. And it does not stop, right? Like I have a joke, and I don't know if your viewers cuss, so maybe I won't cuss, but no one gives a F if you have cancer and you a mom and you a black mom. Like my 3-year old is still sitting here. So, it don't stop. I gotta keep living while I can. And so that's why I'm here today.
When you said that no one cares, is that something that you felt, or is that something that you were told, or something else?
I mean, that in the sincerest, hold on. Come back, please. I mean that in a way, I'm sure there are people that care about me, right? What I'm saying is in society, when this happened to me, my kids, I walked them to school. Okay. When this happened to me, I tried to get a bus for them, in the middle of the year. Um, I say no one cares because systems did not stop. There was nothing in place to help me, um, to be a bridge while I went through this. I mean, it just happened suddenly. So yes, I'm sure my family cares. I'm sure that my community that knows me cares, right? But in the world, systems do not care. Um, if you have a cancer diagnosis and you can't walk your kids to school, that's what I mean. Come back.
I think sometimes it's hard because when someone is going through something such as a diagnosis like this, cancer, could be a loss of someone, there's that period where some people will show up and show out, meaning that they will show up for you, but then eventually, and it seems like it's sooner than later, their life will have to go forward, and you're stuck like, oh, I still have this loss. Oh, I still have this grief. Or I still have the cancer. Or I have something else that I'm going through. When you look back, well, not even look back, as you reflect on some of the things that you witnessed and some of the things that you saw. Did you feel alone or a sense of loneliness during this journey?
Definitely. Thank God that you, you it's almost divine when I'm going through, right? So all the people that I chose for myself prior to this, I do not fault them, right? I have adult children. So yes, people have to live. I will tell you, I have not seen you made a comment. You said other people's life go on, but you're stuck dealing with this. So that's where I'm different because I am not stuck dealing with it. I am dealing with it. And I know because I'm dealing with it, even though those people that cannot walk with me the whole journey, you gotta give grace, right? For wherever they can walk with you to. And my friend, she told me, she said, you have to remember you're a young, healthy mother. People loved you. And so when you have to deal with it, she said, you're a good person. You make them face their own mortality. And I never thought about what people might be going through because I've been diagnosed. So thank God for wise friends, because in the beginning I would lie if I was telling you that I was not experiencing sadness or grief. My ex-husband came back in my life because of the diagnosis, and I thought we would rekindle. And then when he couldn't, that took a lot out of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to know that someone that you loved, that you would stop time um, for whatever reason, they cannot be on the whole journey. You gotta let it go with grace. Otherwise, I'm still alive, right? So I don't want to waste my life having anger because he can go the whole way. And I told my friends I do not die from this. Um, so that gives me hope, right? That whoever God has or whatever, there will be others to walk again. So it has not been easy, I'm telling you, but kind of having a hopeful perspective like that makes you not so jaded.
Do you think sometimes people begin to form an identity around the pain where now they can't see life without what they're going through?
Most definitely. I think that people, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to catch a little 3-year old. Forgive me. I told you, mothering does not stop, right? You stand here. You could go anywhere in here. Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of lost track of your question, so you might have to ask it again. But
That's okay. Yeah. So no, the question was when it comes to the diagnosis or when someone is experiencing a difficult time, do you think that sometimes they begin to form an identity with the pain where they can't see a life without the suffering, without the hurt?
okay, so most definitely. So, okay, as I also do emotion coaching, right? so, so yes, people can only meet you where they have met themselves emotionally, right? Some people do not let themselves feel the pain. So, yes, I do. My ex husband said to me, he said, you act like it's so easy having brain cancer. And I told him, I said, I'm not framing my life around cancer. I'm framing my life around living. But that struck me. And, like, maybe you're having a hard time. So definitely in some of my relationships, um, it's like you locked in. Like if they know the diagnosis, they cannot see past that. And I don't not honestly, I'm still navigating what that looks like for me. Right.
Some of the women that I work with, and as I shared with you, they're a little bit older in age and they're going through some of the things that they're going through. Because as we get older, some things begin to creak, things begin to feel sore, and just getting out of bed for many of us is a win.
Yeah.
They shared that one thing that they feel as they've gotten older is that people begin to perhaps view them differently because of their the wall they've put up from an emotional perspective. When you're helping people who are trying to understand their emotional capabilities, what do you think are maybe some of the obstacles that they're facing when it comes to that emotional awareness, emotional connection?
I think it's pain. That's the short answer, right? Whenever we feel something that hurts, we want to make it stop, right? But I think I think that you really have to want to be curious as to what's behind the pain. So, yes, it still hurts, but I think so many people just I mean with the pharmaceutical industry, right? We have people just trying to make it stop. So we abort the mission before we really can see, like, what is this showing me? How can I learn from this? How can I grow? Most of my clients, I will tell you, are artists. Okay, so most of my clients are not your average everyday person that is suppressing. Most of my clients are singers, songwriters, rappers, parents. And so they already come with emotional depth that society, they haven't found a place that they can put this. So they come to me and together, this is a together thing, right? Like we expand on what that means because the more I become aware, I also know that I am helping the world, right? Even if it doesn't look like it, I know that I'm helping the collective to heal when I just acknowledge my own pain and my own dynamic way of describing that. So that's how I did not forget your question, but that's how I've seen the work move. It's not been so clean, and cut and packaged. It's been really helping people be okay. First of all, saying I'm hurting, being aware and just being honest with that. That's really where I meet all my clients.
Do you think the people that you work with or just people in general are aware of the pain that's causing that disconnection?
Well, okay, so the name of my business is Divine Generations. I believe that the pain is going to go through everyone that's ever born in your family line until someone decides to see it and to look at it and to be honest about it. So, you know, it again, it's not this thing that's one and done. It's kind of like this forever thing. And even though I have some of the tools, um I am not absolved. Like my children will still get to do work. So we will not ever be done with the work. If that answers the question.
No, it does because there's times where I've seen some people where they're aware of what is causing their struggles in life or maybe the source of their pain, but there's so
Mhm.
many distractions in the world that sometimes they will either work themselves 12, 14, 16 hours to ignore it, or what they'll do is they'll think that if they get into a relationship, then that distraction will make them no longer feel that pain, even though they're not doing anything to resolve it. What are maybe your thoughts on
Yeah.
some of the distractions in life that maybe put us in a situation where we don't have to address the generational trauma or the trauma that's being passed down through our family line?
And distractions are astronomical, right? So they can range from work. I see a lot of moms now, and I champion women, but it's like this whole careerism with men and women, honestly. And so it's the obsession with career advancing. And these are all good things. I'm not saying that we should not care about our growth in one area, but I can tell you that the way that the world is now, we have got to become more emotionally intelligent if we want to evolve as a species. So, I mean, for now, it's an array of things that keep people. I think I hope I don't get flack for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think religion is the biggest distraction that someone else is gonna come fix it. That's the greatest distraction, I think, amongst others, right? But religion, in the sense of someone else is going to do this work, and that is just not real. The trauma and the pain is going to keep circulating until someone says it's my responsibility. I see it as my own personal duty to heal this aspect of where I am so that the people after me on the side of me can like grow in a way that they don't have to go through what I did to get there. Does that make sense?
It does. And I found that point interesting where you mentioned that religion can be one of them because I think religion, culture does have an impact on how many people actually see certain things. And as well as if you look at some people's upbringing, like how sometimes, and maybe you've come across this, where someone is going through something, but they'll say that, well, it's not that bad because so and so has it worse. They won't name so and so, but they just assume someone has it worse. Is that then similar to what you're saying, where we kind of ignore what we're going through because either someone's going to save us, someone has it worse, or we just don't have the time?
Yeah, I mean, all of those things. Someone else gonna save us. Sometimes I would say too, not knowing where to start. You know, a lot of people will say to me, well, how do you know when, where do you start in the work? And I'm like, well, it's like telling the story. So as an author, we know that a story has a beginning, a middle. Now, the middle is not the climax, okay? The climax might be in the middle. We have an ending and then a conclusion. And I tell people, find yourself in the story and just be honest with that. Like, you know, realistically, um, I think what would make the work get done is if people could just do what they could do. Um, Again, I think it's beautiful to be ambitious, but sometimes even in our healing, we are so ambitious that we want to take on and do so much. We're thinking about the outcome instead of the right now. Just doing what you can do. And I say that in whatever framework. So I am not saying this from a jaded place of religion. I came from Christianity, okay? Pentecostal, apostolic, all of them. I am a champion. In some ways, religion helps you crystallize the problem. However, it is your job to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is not this mystical God outside of yourself that's going to do it. So, using whatever tools you have to get clarity in your stories to do the work.
Is that a way that some people will cope by thinking someone else is going to come and save them?
I don't think that they're consciously doing that, to be honest with you. I think it's just the way of the world, right? I don't think that people are walking around consciously thinking about someone saving them. Um, my own diagnosis has made me confront that. How I even show up. So you know, as a now this goes when you talk about culture. Some people have a victimhood. Sometimes you are a victim. Okay. So I'm not saying that's not real, but sometimes victimhood is a choice. So, victimhood, being a victim is not the choice. However, if you stay there thinking that someone else is going to save you, that mindset is all I'm saying doesn't get the work done.
How important is it to take that first step in getting the work done then?
Um, I think that again, some people don't see themselves as divine beings. And so if you do not think that it's important, then you would just live life and however, whatever plays out, however it plays out, happens for you. However, I do think that there are some people who are I don't want to say the watchers. Again, I work with artists, okay? So artists are different fundamentally because they see what other people cannot see. And their job is to bring it into reality in a way that's deemed beautiful. So again, there are two kind of people. I can't really answer that question that you asked me because you either are seeing it or you're not, and it doesn't matter how much of it you see. Um, you know, the important part is that we're becoming aware that we're conscious, right?
There was someone in my life who we were acquaintances, and she knew the work that she had to do. And one of the obstacles that she faced and why it was so difficult for her to overcome it is that she was afraid of losing the person that she is because she had people around her and she was able to get comfortable in a certain lifestyle. But
Mm.
healing and breaking the generational trauma and changing her life meant that she would have to adopt a different type of lifestyle that was different than the one she was currently experiencing. And the reason
Yeah.
why she had such a hard time with the two different lifestyle is because the first one, there's a lot of things that came along with it, the clubs, the friends, and things like that. The second one, she would have to live a different type of life. Maybe she wouldn't have the extravagant things. She wouldn't have the big house. She wouldn't have the car. She would still have something, but not the same in comparison to what she would have to leave. And that's where she was stuck. And that's why I asked the question, because there's some people who aren't aware, to your point, and then there's some people who are, they'll just say that, well, Terrain, you're asking me to give up a lot. And maybe I won't like this person because I won't have a million followers on Instagram, or I won't have guys and girls chasing after me, or I won't even have that fancy car. Maybe I have to drive a Mazda instead of something else. Could the lifestyle change that comes with those changes of breaking the trauma, of living a life that's more positive, could that maybe be scary for some people to take on?
Most definitely. Again, you know, I sit here. My daughter asked me. She said, "How, Mom? How do you wake up every day?" Okay, so in a capitalistic society, someone would call me poor. But in a spiritual sense, I am abundant. So she asked me, she said, Mom, how do you go through life knowing, both of those things? And I told my daughter, she's 21. I said, I realize I do not live in your reality. I am aware of that. However, you have to decide, are you going to be poor in capitalism or rich in spirit? People have to decide for themselves what is more important to them. I do think it's a way to transition. Now, mind you, I don't think that you have to change really your lifestyle. If you have worked yourself to that capacity to where people look at you and they listen to you, well, now you need to ask yourself, a soul message, like, who am I? And then uh just shift that same, I mean, it's like it's almost linear, right? Um, so it's not like you have to give up. I don't like the notion that, you're giving up something for this. There is going to be a change. What ifs, right? Like, we can go on for days about what ifs. But if it's that important to you, you will ask yourself the core message of who am I and what am I trying to do, and then ease into that. Don't just uproot everything. I mean, that would be foolish.
Do you think some people have let the pain and the suffering and the chaos define who they are?
Yeah, and you know, yeah. To answer shortly, yes. Um, it's something for a person to go through pain and then come out, but also being known as an underdog and being known for, in spite of my pain, I did. So yes, pain in some ways does, it defines us, it gives us meaning, it helps us see our purpose. However, life is about transition, right? So you're who you are at 20, you're not going to be at 60, and that's not so bad.
I agree. I think sometimes some people get trapped into, especially in hindsight, we think our 20s and our 30s are better than they actually were. So
Mm.
we're in our 40s and 50s, we're like, "Oh, I wish I could be in my 20s," not remembering how painful it was because maybe they just think that, well, my skin was a little bit tighter, my hair was a little bit longer, my butt was a little bit bigger, whatever the case is, right? But what I found, and this is anecdotal to a degree, is that people truly find themselves after 40. And the reason why I say that is you most likely, in a lot of cases, know what you want, but more importantly, you know what you don't want. And you know where you want to take your life and go from there. For those who are trying to maintain their health, their happiness, their peace, their emotional connections with those around them, what are some tips or advice that you'd like to give them to help them along those journey, Wisdom?
Yeah. Hmm. I have to pause for a second because I told you I'm actually going through that. Um, you have to meet people where they are. Um, Even when you're changing, um, the world around you might still be the same. So the greatest thing that's been helping me is having value for my own story and being connected to that, and then loving people where they are. And I mean, obviously, some people I've had to take out of my life, but some people I've just had to have grace. I've just had to have grace. That everybody is, say hi. Everybody's not on my journey. And I do not want to make this sound like it's so easy. Like, these things that we are talking about are very hard. And so I do understand, like, healing, it does not happen in a bubble, but um I think being true to yourself is the greatest takeaway from all of this. You can get
Yeah,
down.
there's nothing like self-awareness, and there's nothing like that point in your life where you know that you are becoming who you want to be, and you're
Mhm.
okay if there's going to be some people who are in your life who don't accept it, and it's okay that you're going to have some people who are going to support you. I remember one of the best things that I've ever experienced in my life as I was getting older was that as I began to realize what I wanted and what I didn't want, I
Yeah.
began to see in people things that I liked and I wanted to be a part of my life and what I didn't. And one of the things that I think was probably the hardest earlier on, but a lesson well learned, was that I had people around me that I was like, hmm, why did I keep these people around me? Why did I continue to do that? But once I was on a better path, I began to realize, okay, I know who can't make this journey with me. How important is it? How important was it for you? And how important do you think it is for others to identify the community that's going to be most beneficial to them?
I mean, you are like the most people, the people that you hang around most, right? And so, you said how important is it to what?
How important is it to have the right community or even the right people around you who's going to help you along your journey to become a better person?
Yeah, sure. You know, that word help again, like when you experience cancer, I don't know what I was doing before. Okay. People have static lives. But I could tell you that experiencing cancer helps you to see and you could just let go without the grief. You I think of my ex-husband. Why was you have dreams that you created with people? You had a whole identity that you created that you thought was going to be forever. So it's not wrong when you say how important is the people around you. It's most important, but most important is you and like how you think about. I keep bringing it to that because culture is important to me. However, some cultures are sick and they're embedded within culture. And so you have got to be able to separate what's not helpful to your own development, but also like help yourself. Like, where are you going? Um, there was a part in my cancer journey where I just deleted numbers out my phone, not because I made anyone bad, but because, if I reached out to you and you didn't reach back, rightfully so, you have a right to be on your own journey. So I just decided that for me, it wouldn't be beneficial to stay connected to certain communities, and people and things that I did not feel like were on my growth journey. So not like they were helping me. Again, I'm very sensitive. I am the wisdom wordsmith because words matter. So I was not looking for someone to help me. I just wanted people to be on the journey with. So I think that is two different things. Who is on your journey with you, not so much who is helping you.
Do you think your experience with cancer has changed the way you looked at people?
Not really. I think it's made me more of an exacto knife. So I would say before, I might have been like an axe, right? So you got to pull an axe back. You get time before you cut it off. Now I am like an exacto knife, like a little pocket knife that you keep in your pocket, and it's sharp. Okay, and you might have to change it so you keep getting that straight cut every time. Like, so no, it's just made me more decisive now, if anything.
Let me ask you one final question before I let you go, but I want to give you three wishes for this question, okay? What are three things that you learned about yourself that you would like to share with other people today, and why?
mm, Three things that I would like to share about myself. um, I call myself the Queen of Hearts. I would never tell no one this before my diagnosis. Okay, off with their heads. I would like to say, share with myself that share with y'all. I am emotional, and for the first time in my life, I'm okay with that. Um, It's okay to be emotional, and be okay with whatever findings, right, that you have about yourself. Uh, three wishes. I don't know if this is a real. Maybe it's a real wish. If you don't know how to do it, find a way. So I wish that I would have found a way to do things sooner, I guess, maybe. And have fun. I mean, have fun in life, right? With the mistakes, the things that you didn't know, healing, what I mean, the good and the bad. I say all that. I would like to share all those things because I think that I wasn't having enough fun in life before cancer. Um, I'm a Capricorn, so work was fun. But I would say have real fun, go on adventures, right? Like do things that you never did. Do it now. Don't wait for the future and um, be okay. I think Black women especially get a lot of flack, but women in general, and maybe people, right? If you are emotional, it's okay. Long as you ain't hurt nobody, right? And so yeah, I would tell you guys those three things because those are the things I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to have fun and be okay with myself and do it now. Like